Hello, everyone, and welcome back to TaylorMade, the show where you ask the questions and you get your answers tailor-made by Hamline University head football coach Chip Taylor. In this week's episode, the coach talks to us about the big victory over Augsburg last weekend. He discusses what it's going to take to try to beat the St. John's Johnnies this weekend. And the coach talks about a tough loss that his beloved Philadelphia Eagles suffered this last weekend. Let's get right to TaylorMade. Well, let's welcome back Coach Taylor. Coach, let's first of all begin with your team updates for us.
Team is doing good, healthy for the most part. I mean, obviously it's week, it is week 10, but it's really week 13, I believe. So, guys are hanging in there. They're just excited for the next opportunity. I think the guys are more seniors, starting to understand that, they only have, two more opportunities to go out and play and a few more practices. So, you can kind of tell that, things are tightening up a little bit for those older guys. But for the most part, we're good.
This last weekend against Augsburg, you're in your fifth victory of the season already. Hold them to minus 11 yards rushing. You have to really be impressed by. I mean, is this the most dominant performance by defense you could ask for?
It was good. Yeah, it was good. It's funny because we still, we made some mistakes in the pass game, which people can see on film. But as far as with the run game, we were able to hone in on what they were doing, and we were able to get our guys to understand what we wanted to try and do, and more importantly, the guys went out and executed, so it was good.
One thing, person that we really haven't spent a lot of time talking about so far this year has been Mitchell Bidet. He has 2 sacks for you and 3 tackles for losses. He's really becoming a dominant force for you as a sophomore.
Yeah, Mitchell Bidet is a guy that, you can put a lot on him, ask him to do a lot. He studies film. Again, a lot of the guys that you see showing up on Saturdays, the way that they prepare, obviously, it helps them a lot. So he's doing a great job. We're excited about him, to have him around here for a couple more years. And he had a big afternoon for us on Saturday.
Justice Briggs throws for 317 yards and 5 touchdowns. What did you think of his performance?
Again, we've talked about it. He just continues to work in a manner where he comes in, studies tape, asks questions. He's after practice with the guys working on there's different nuances of the offense. I mean, he's really maturing into a really, really good football player. We had an idea what we had in him last year, but now that he, kind of featured him a little bit more, we know exactly what we have in him. So he did a good job as usual.
What were the things that you take away from this game that you want to build off of for the last couple of weeks?
We need to, if we can continue to slow down the run, because these next 2 teams this next team we're getting ready to face is running the ball very well, traditionally even running the ball well. But if we can build off of, a good run defensive performance, that would be awesome. If we can continue to just keep, taking care of the football and offense, that's very important because this next ball club we're getting ready to play does a great job. I want to say they're leading the conference in takeaways, so we just have to really continue to take care of the football. If we can slow down the run, those are the things we want to build off of with these next 2 weeks.
Well, let's talk about that game this Saturday. You've taken on St. John's. Really no one on the offense that really is dominating. You don't have a huge running back, a huge passing attack. How do you prepare for a team like that?
Oh, gosh, they're a juggernaut because the thing is they're playing 2 quarterbacks. Both of them are capable. Their tight end is a big, long kid, which, they will highlight at times. Their running backs I like them a lot. And their receiver, they have a kid up there, number 22, Evan Clark, who's a South St. Paul kid who's doing a really good job. So, there is no stopping one thing with this team. You got to, slow down and, hope they mess up a few times and, hopefully you can capitalize on it. But, this is a good ball club, man. And the head coach up there has this team ready to roll, and they're doing a good job.
The Johnnies may have the best secondary in the MIAC. Now, because of the way your offense is built, do you try to kind of work around that, or do you just go strength against strength here?
I think you got to always play to your strength. We can't change who we are. We have to respect what they do, but we can't change who we are. We have to go up there and just, work our best, like we talked about, is to take care of the football. Can't play scared, but you got to take care of the football as best as possible. And just understand that they have some dangerous weapons out there in the secondary. 3 kids that they got their hands all over the ball, so they're a good defense.
Well, before we head to our fan questions, John first of all wanted me to make a statement. He said, "Coach, us parents just want to thank you for the spirit that you have brought to the team. We are thankful to have you leading our sons."
Well, John, I appreciate it. Thank you, and we'll continue to keep working.
Our first question is from Miguel from St. Paul, who says, "Do you consider this season a success?"
Miguel from St. Paul, that's a good question. Again, this word success comes up a lot. There's a lot of things we judge our program on. We still have a lot of things left to go. We want to be a 3.1 GPA. I haven't seen a grade yet. We still got some community service things to do out into the community. We've accomplished one. We still have 2 more to do. So to say it's a success, and from my standards, I'd say we're still in a work in progress. We'll continue to keep working on that, McGill.
Miguel would also like to know, what do you want your players to take away from such a successful season like this?
Well, again, after we get done with the last game, we'll look back and see, how many we got in the W column. And then obviously, like I said, the grade point is critical. Community service is critical. So, I just want them to take away, to understand the fact that hard work pays off. You got to be good people, and just enjoy each other's relationships. And I want these guys to stick with each other and to stay up with to communicate with each other after they leave Hamline. So,
I have to say personally, I think that's awesome. Most coaches would tell me, well, we've had a really great season on the field, but your focus is on what they're doing in the classroom. That's incredible.
It's important.
Absolutely. Henry from St. Paul asks, I know some coaches like a 4-3 defense and others a 3-4. How did you decide on the style that you like to coach?
Well, Henry, that's a good question. A lot of it is a combination of how you come up in the profession. On defense, got a chance to be under some good defensive coaches at Bucknell. They played really good defense out there. We were more of a 4-2-5 defense, which is a little bit more in the family of a 4-3. When we first got here with Coach Rogoszewski, we had to look at the personnel, and we were actually a little bit more of 3-4. So it's a combination of how what kind of defense you came up under, what your core philosophy is, and then it really comes down to what kind of players you have. You got to recruit to that style of defense you want. So we're a little bit more of we're a 4 down front here. So.
Beth from Duluth asks, she says, you mentioned in a prior show that you did not choose permanent captains this season, but expect to do so later on. What will let you know that the time is right to do it in an upcoming season?
Yep, that's a great question, Beth. The first thing with captains, we want to make sure that when we run captains out there for the whole year, that it's something special, that they represent the HU brand, that they're a person that when they're away from the facility, you can trust them. People can look up to them. They're leaders. So it's just really tough for me and I shouldn't say me, it's our whole athletic department, starting with Jason Verdugo, to just put a C on somebody's chest and, you just give it to anybody. And you really got to be doing the right thing when nobody's watching. You got to do the right thing when people are watching. So, we'll continue to evaluate, and we'll know when the time is right. One thing we talk about here is a player-led team is way better than a coach's coach and then a coach team. So once the players start leading more and we see who rises, then, we'll move in a manner that, that'll put the C on somebody's chest and it can lead this team in the future.
Wes from Minneapolis would like to know from you, do you think it is an advantage or a disadvantage to coach at a school where the students are so smart?
Wes, that's a great question. I think it's an advantage, but again, it goes back to my background. I've coached, every school I've coached at has been academic, so we use that to our advantage. You can put a lot more on those players, so we definitely use that as an advantage. So and I've been fortunate to work at all academic, I should say highly academic private schools, so that's a good thing.
Steve from Hudson asked of you, he says you had to hate the Cowboys comeback this last weekend. What happened there?
Oh boy, yeah, that was again, obviously, you never know, especially from being a coach, what another coach is thinking. So I'm sure Coach Peterson had a philosophy and a way that he wanted to attack. But as outside, you can it's very easy to say, what is he doing? But just a little bit of maybe looking back on it, maybe he might have mismanaged the clock a little bit, and he probably would like to do some things differently. But coaching is an interesting way to make a living, because everybody has a voice that's watching in the stands. So I really can't say what happened there. I'm a little disappointed that the Eagles lost, but that's such is life in the NFL.
Tom from Philly asks of you, Coach, since you're from Philadelphia, you have to be dying about this horrible 76ers. What is it going to take for them to even be relevant anymore?
Oh, Tom from Philly, that's a great question. We need to bring Allen Iverson back. There you go, and Eric Snow, right? All those guys, man. And but I don't know. It's a rebuilding process. We got some young players, but as the season gets over, and even hopefully I can get a chance to watch them a little bit more, and maybe my eye can I can have an opinion, a better opinion. But I know I try to watch them when they get out here to play the Timberwolves. I watch them every year. We're just struggling. We just gotta continue to come down to players and philosophy and culture. So they're probably still trying to get it right. But I know we have some good players there. And I'm looking forward to seeing the Sixers get back to a place where you can be proud. But I still wear my Sixers and my Eagles stuff, no matter what the records are. So
that's a true fan there. Our last question this week comes from Andrea from St. Paul. She says, why are men so afraid to cry in front of others?
Andrea from St. Paul, that's a great question. I think that probably comes from, back when you're a kid and you fall off your bike, or, you something happens and, your parents tell you, or your dad tells you, toughen up, don't cry. I think a lot of it comes from that, but, we talk to our players a lot. I tell our players, to tell them, from an emotional standpoint, love them. Try to tell them that at least once, twice a week, and that it's okay to cry. Because again, I grew up. I'm from that. My parents are old school, and I grew up in that. It's not okay to cry, and I don't never think I've seen my dad cry. To be honest with you, so those are things that I just think it's the way it's always been. But it's important for our young people to understand that emotions are good, and crying is a good thing. You should be moved each day, to cry. So I don't know. That's a great question, Miss Andrea. That's my answer for you. But I think it's a good thing, and we try to talk to our players about having that emotional connection, and it's okay to do those things. So
awesome. Thanks for joining us this week, Coach.
All right. Thank you.
We want to thank Coach Taylor for joining us on Taylor Made this week. If you have your own questions you'd like to ask the Hamline coach, please send them to us at chiptaylor@minorleaguesportsreport.com. That's chiptaylor@minorleaguesportsreport.com. Please have your questions to us by Wednesday evening so we can give the coach a little time to review them before we record the show. I'm Rob Pannier, the managing editor of the Minor League Sports Report, reminding you that if you have questions out there, there's no better way to have them answered than to get them